Hello everybody, it's Gary Hallican here, and today we are looking at the NECA M3GAN Ultimate Action Figure. So I was able to get this figure for less than half price at my local Walmart, and I think the main reason for that is because the new movie didn't do that well, M3GAN 2.0. I liked it, I thought it was pretty fun, but I don't think it was as good as the first movie. Of course, this is M3GAN's appearance in the first movie. And so this figure is a year or two old at this point, but it should be cool to look at now and should be a really good value for the price that I paid for it. And I also think that this is the first NECA figure that I will be showing on my channel. I don't usually get NECA figures primarily because they're more expensive than a lot of other figures. And there's not always a lot of characters that I'm interested in. But this one, like I said, was less than half price. So I definitely had to snag one of these. So on the front of the box, we have a picture from the movie. Same picture here as on the Blu-ray. I think was the picture on at least one of the posters. And of course, we can open the flap on the front. And we see we got a picture of the figure and then the figure herself. And so what you'll notice here is that because M3GAN is not very big, right? She's a small figure. That allows them to include a lot of stuff with her at the same price point. So that's going to be very good. She's going to have more accessories than most of the figures I've looked at here on my channel. If we look at the sides of the box, same thing on both sides. And then on the back of the box, we have lots of pictures of the figure with the various accessories and a list of all of the stuff that she comes with. So let's go ahead and get her out and see what we think. Okay, so here is M3GAN out of the package, and I think they have replicated her look and her outfit really well here. I know NECA tends to prioritize the sculpt and the paint over some other things like articulation and stuff, and I think they've done a really good job here. The paint everywhere on her is very clean, so like the lines on her bow are very clean, and the stripes on her sleeves are very clean. And her shoes especially are painted really cleanly, which is not something I see all the time on all the figures that I look at. So I think they have done her outfit really well here. There's maybe a couple wonky things aesthetically for me here, and that's mostly the knees and elbows. So they just look a little bit strange to me, and I don't know if that's typical of the joints on these NECA figures. Like I said, I haven't really looked at very many NECA figures. So that may be typical for the joints here. You can see as she comes around, I think from the side especially, the knees just look a little funny there. But that is a tiny nitpick on what is overall an aesthetically really good figure. The hair could maybe use a little more highlighting, but still looks good. The face that's on her right out of the package is kind of the little bit happier face. Got a little bit of a smile. She has a more kind of sadder looking face that comes with her as well. But I think overall it's a very good face sculpt as well here. We'll get it up close and take a look. So here's the face sculpt. I think that's pretty good and pretty accurate and painted fairly cleanly as well. So aesthetically, not really any complaints with her there. So let's go ahead and look at articulation next. Okay, so I suspect that she's going to be a little bit limited in articulation, and I think that's primarily going to be because of the hair and the dress, but we will see what we can get here. So for the head, can get a little bit of look up, a speck of looking up there. Like I said, her hair goes quite a ways down her back, almost halfway down there, so that's going to hinder the head quite a bit. We can get not too much look forward, or else we'll pop the head off. There we go. So not really any look down at all. I suspect we're going to get more articulation out of the head and neck when we put the hairless robot head on her. So not much there as far as the head goes. Not even really very much twist that you can do. The hair is soft, so you can kind of move it out of the way, but still not a whole lot you can do there. So for the arms, do not go up very far, only up about that far. And all the way around, Let's see if she has a swivel. Does not appear to have a swivel here at the sleeve. The elbow, only about a 90-degree elbow, can swivel at the elbow. And then at the hands, we have swivel and hinges there at the hands. Now, she probably has a waist joint in here. We're not really going to get it to do anything because of the dress. So not really anything at the waist. I'm guessing, you know, this figure would have a waist joint. There is a tiny bit of slit on the side of the dress, so we might get a little bit more with the legs. We're going to get maybe about that far forward and maybe about that far back. Pretty decent splits, though, even with the hindrance of the dress. Does not really appear to have much of a thigh swivel, maybe a little bit. Knees are just single knees, so about 90 degrees there, and probably can swivel at the knees as well. And then at the feet, we've got only up about that far, can point down all the way, and a little bit of pivot side to side. I wonder if that is some white paint that has come off over already. Maybe on her legs here. That might have been from something else. So she is pretty limited articulation wise. We're definitely not going to be able to get her to do her dances. You know, we might get some poses that are close to it, but we're definitely not going to be able to get her to do most of her dance poses. So a little bit limited, but that's probably all right, like I said, because they have rendered the outfit pretty well. But where this figure is really going to shine is the accessories. So let's look at that next. Okay, so M3GAN comes with a lot of stuff, more stuff than most of the figures I look at on the channel. And I think, like I said, that's probably because she's fairly small, so they can include a lot of other things with her without changing the price point too much. So first up, we actually get 3 extra heads. So we have this one, which is a little more of a sad face. She's got kind of the smiling face on her out of the package, and then this is a little more of a sad face, and it looks quite good. So you already saw the head come off once. Not very difficult there. And we switch with the other head. There we go. That one didn't want to pop on all the way. So that one I'm having some trouble popping on. You'd see there's a ball joint in her neck here. There we go. All right, so it took a little bit of force to pop the head on there, but it does go on. That one doesn't look too different from the regular head. Looks like the hair is basically the same. Actually, the hair is, yeah, looks like the same. Okay, and then the other head we get is the battle damaged head. So that one, I think that looks extremely accurate to the movie. I think that is rendered really well here. You can see the robot head coming through there. Like I said, I think that looks very accurate to the movie. And the hair is, I guess their hair is wet at that point, so that's why the hair has quite a bit less volume here than on the other heads. Definitely takes some force to pop the heads on there, but once on, there we go. So this one, maybe a little bit more articulation because of less hair volume, but not much. Still can't move the head very much. That looks good though. I will save the third, actually it's the fourth, but the third extra head until we look at some of the other accessories. So she comes with basically all of the weapons that she uses in the movie. So we have a hammer, and it is just a regular hammer. And I think this is from the end of the movie, right? I think Gemma attacks her with this. Spoilers, by the way. Oh, I should mention she does have lots of extra hands. And some of those hands are specifically meant for certain weapons that she has. So this one's kind of a trigger finger hand. And we've got a left sort of handle holding hand there. And a right kind of could be for holding something small hand there. And a right kind of circular holding hand. And another right sort of circular but a little bit bigger. So mostly right hands. Looks like there's a left. And all of her other hands are right hands. So they are for holding her different items. And they look pretty good. They even have some shading on the inside there. So for the hammer, let's see what hand would go well with that one. Maybe that one. I guess this is kind of a trigger finger hand, but the hammer seems to fit pretty well there. We'll see how tough it is to switch her hands out. Quite long wrist pegs on them there. So not too bad. Not very difficult to switch your hands there. So if you've got the hammer, and it looks quite good. Probably the best thing about the weapons that she comes with is they are sort of generic, right? They aren't really, sci-fi weapons or anything like that. So that means you could use these accessories with various other figures that you had, like the hammer and the nail gun. So the nail gun looks very good. A lot of detail on there. Most companies, you would get an accessory like this, and it would be all one color. But here we have green and black and some silver on it there. So that looks really good. And probably the same hand will work for it, because that's kind of a trigger finger hand. So there we go, yes. And it's a little bit big, but I think it is in scale correctly with her here. So that's very good. And then we get a screwdriver, tiny little screwdriver, but it looks quite nice. This isn't really for her to hold. It'll be spoilers here in a minute, but if you've seen the movie, you'll know this is not something that she uses herself, but we will have a use for it in a second. So that's very good. And then we have two different versions of the paper cutter blade. So we have one that is clean, and then one after it's been used here, right? So we have a bloody paper cutter blade. And if we switch the hands out, I'm thinking that is this one. I'm guessing this one is the paper cutter blade hand. So there we go. Just like that. And the only left hand that she comes with seems to be the same pose here. So let's see if we get her dual wielding. There we go. So that might not be accurate to the movie, but that is cool. We can get her dual wielding the paper cutter blades. All right, so as I mentioned, she comes with one more head, and it is the robot head. Right? So the robot head, a lot of detail in it. Looks very good. Not painted really on the back, but a lot of detail in the front. And we get two face plates for it. So we get this face plate where the eyes seem to be off a little bit. One of them seems higher than the other one. But it's very detailed and very accurate to the movie. And then the second face plate we get is one that is basically the same, but with kind of a side eye look there to it. Looks like one of the eyes is off to the side. So this is maybe meant to be after she sustained some damage a little bit there. So you can see there, that one does definitely look a little more damaged for that face plate. So we can switch the heads. See if it'll pop on there. There we go. So we have her with the robot head. And again, very accurate looking to the movie. The face plates don't want to stay on real well, but this should definitely enhance our head articulation with no hair in the way. All right, so as I mentioned, the screwdriver is not for her own use. The screwdriver is meant, of course, for defeating her, right? So spoilers there. But that fits right into the hole here in the center of her face, just like that. So accessories are excellent. You can basically replicate everything that she did in the movie. So they've really hit it out of the park with the accessories on this one. All right, let's do some size comparisons next. Okay, so for size comparisons, you have been seeing her the whole video compared with the Figma Guyver 1 figure. So you can see here that she's definitely not in scale with a Figma figure here. She should be around and about 4 feet tall or so, I think. And he, of course, should be about 6 feet. So she's definitely larger scale than that. Here is a Marvel Legends. So here's Marvel Legends Captain Marvel. So she's probably okay in scale with your Marvel Legends, I would say there. So Captain Marvel here about a head taller than her. So looks like M3GAN is pretty much okay to be in the 6-inch scale. Here is a McFarlane DC Multiverse figures, DC Multiverse Batgirl. So if you assume that M3GAN's supposed to be 4 feet tall and a adult figure here closer to 6 feet, then she's not too terribly out of scale with the DC Multiverse ones either. So it just depends on how tall you think she's supposed to be. The boss guy says in the movie that she's 4 feet tall, but he is just making a presentation in that, so it's probably not a totally accurate measurement. So she's definitely not in scale with a Figma. She's probably all right scaling wise with either your Marvel Legends or your DC Multiverse. So here is a typical 12-ounce beverage can. And then here is John Cena. Okay, so that is the NECA Ultimate M3GAN action figure. It's a very good value, especially for the price that I paid for it. Looks really good, and where it really shines is the accessories. She comes with everything that she used in the movie, and you can replicate then basically all of the scenes with that. So very good on the accessories front. I think the only thing you could wish for with this figure would be better articulation so that you can do more of her dance moves. Otherwise, very good. We'll wait to see if we get any figures based on her looks from the second movie. I'm going to guess possibly not, because the second movie I don't think did that well. But if we get like her sort of robot suit, that might be a good one. But again, it needs to be articulated enough so that she can dance in it. So let me know in the comments if you have this figure. Let me know if you have any other figures of M3GAN. I know there were some other ones that were made in some different scales. Let me know what you thought about the second movie. And let me know what else is cool. And we'll see you in the next review.